Hello, and welcome to what I read in July. July was an interesting month. I started PT twice a week due to a back thing that happened that I did, which is fine now. But that made reading unpleasant because I could not get comfortable no matter what I did. So I used social media scrolling to distract myself. Luckily, my father-in-law was here. He helped me a lot, and he and my husband have been doing house projects. Me and my father-in-law, we read together outside for hours. It was just amazing. He's a big-time reader. I'm a big-time reader. My husband's a big-time reader. So we very much enjoyed just reading time and then talking about books. I did some self-care things like getting a pedicure. So the first book I read is actually on Kindle Unlimited, and it's called Extinction by Douglas Preston. And I believe that's the same author that co-writes with Childs, Preston and Childs. They do a lot of thrillers. This one caught my attention because Michael Crichton was mentioned, and I love anything Jurassic Park, and I figured that's what this was. 5 pages in, I was hooked. Probably the first page in, I was hooked on this book. So I immediately got it from the library too, and the library had it, and of course the sticker at the bottom said thriller. So okay, this is going to be more than just a Jurassic Park. There are some creatures out and about that we're going to be running from, and they're part of this story. Oh no. So what this is about is Erebus. So it's this big resort, and a billionaire has allowed scientists to use DNA from extinct animals like woolly mammoths, Irish elk, and then there's a giant ground sloth. So they've created these things again, not created, but they've resurrected these extinct animals. And if you're really rich, you could afford to stay on Erebus, and you can either be in the resort and just live in luxury for a while you're watching woolly mammoths, graze in their natural habitat, or you can go out and hike or be in nature along with them. Because what they've done, the scientists have changed the DNA. They've manipulated the DNA of, say, the woolly mammoths, and they've taken aggression out of them. So, they might be afraid of the hikers if they see them, if you come too close, but they're not going to trample and kill you. So we know already that could be part of the mystery. Let me just tell you, what the mystery is. Okay. So this billionaire's son and pregnant wife go missing. And when I say missing, there was a crime scene. You go back in time and you're there during what happens, and then you follow, once it's happened, you follow Agent Cash of the CBI and the sheriff of the town, which is Sheriff Colcord. That's a hard last name for me to say. You follow them as they investigate, and if you're like me, you're thinking, this is simple. There's one mystery to solve. Oh, absolutely not. This gets absolutely convoluted, tangled, crazy, scary so quick. This little murder that happens is just the tip of the iceberg to what is actually going on. There were parts where I was on the edge of my seat. I had to not read at night. And then we get to that third act. The mystery deepens so much, and it just keeps going. It just gets worse and worse. And now I am a Douglas Preston fan. 5 out of 5 stars. The last book I read in July is Stephen King's Fairy Tale. So I know this one came from either Goodwill, a thrift store, or a book box. And it's taken me this long. I've probably had it a year or less. But I saw some people reading it on BookTube and thought, yeah, I have that. Let's just dig in and see. Stephen King is hit or miss. For one thing, he likes to push his political views in his books. That takes me straight out of a book. And I very much dislike that. When I'm in a world, I want to be immersed in that world. So this could have been a 4.5 star read. I am putting it to 3 stars. This is about 2 different worlds, and we're in a first-person view of the main character, Charlie Reed. He's had a difficult childhood, to say the least. He's got his dad around. You learn pretty quickly what happens to his family and the dynamics there. But he meets this old man, and I don't remember if it's half the book is just him in our world helping this old man and getting to know this dog, and that sounds boring to me. But that really ended up being just as compelling and dynamic and interesting to me than the part where he's in this fairy tale land. The fairy tale land is some sort of amalgamation of all of these different fairy tales. He includes the Wizard of Oz in this. There's the Little Mermaid. There's Rumpelstiltskin. And in varying ways, it's not on the nose, but you sort of get the feeling that the characters it's almost like the Upside Down for Stranger Things fans. Everything happening in our world is also happening in the other world, to an extent. There were people who, like there's a character, Rumpelstiltskin, who he thinks is the same character in our world, a man that he meets. Stephen King does not spare characters in here. He kind of makes fun of the whole Disney happy ending prince fairy tale trope, and it was very compelling and readable, compulsively readable, all the way to maybe like a 4. Well into the 500s, I started to think, we could wrap this up now if we wanted to. And there's always that point for me in a Stephen King novel where he could hurry it along. It could have gone faster, but here we are. I read it anyway. I got through it. The impetus to get through it was the fact that I'd already made it to 500 pages. It can't be long now. This is going to wrap up. Anyway, fairy tale and extinction. I would say, even though it was a 2-book reading month, I'm so glad July is over. Oh my gosh, with the back thing. It's completely fine now. But anyway, I'm so glad it's over. I'm glad I read these books. I think that's it for this video. I might tack on some other footage though. We'll see, because I took a lot and just never sat down to talk about books. Okay, I thank you for sitting down and watching this video. God bless you.